Houston rolling through the SWAT. Repping for the city, hear him in the parking lot. Houston written across the jersey, ain't gon' never stop. Just fans got me tuning in, waiting for the drop. Astros, Texas, Rockets, Dynamo, they coming with it. When they pull up, got the city sitting on a fitted. Straight up A-Leaf, hold it down, ain't gon' never quit it. Just fans got me tuning in, let my dogs get it. Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans.
What's going on, everybody? It's Carlos, your host of the Just Fans podcast, and I'm joined here by the one and only, the old man himself, Rios. How's it going, sir?
God damn, do I hate lamentation Mondays. Damn it, Bobbin.
Damn it, it sucks, but hey, it's part of the game. Man, honestly, I gotta tell you first, before we get into it, I knew you were at work, so you couldn't really see much of it. Or at least you got to see wherever you got to see it. I don't know if you guys have the TVs over there or what's going on. How did you guys see it?
Of course, I had it on a couple computers, so anywhere I went, I could, keep up with it. And I saw the whole entire game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so piece by piece. Yeah, dude. Man, it's like almost like where to start. It was kind of it was a heartbreaker for sure, I guess, in our end. Just because, you walked in this season, you walked in this season, but at the same time, as I say, it's a heartbreaker. You can't be too disappointed at this Texans team that was not supposed to be there this season. So
I hate that saying.
I mean,
you can say it before the season started, yeah, but seeing how they played it throughout the year, now you can't say they wholeheartedly deserve to be there.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is a team that was given up on that was not supposed to be there. It's a team that as the season grew by, you're like, hey, they deserve to be there. They're making their way there. It started off that way as a team that, hey, come on, they didn't even give many primetime games, and come to find out, the Ravens-Texans game was the most viewed NFL game in a while, 31.1 million viewers.
The highest on ESPN. The highest on ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. Ever. So that goes to show you people want to see these Texans. People want to see the Ravens too. What's funny is that our friends that from the Ravens podcast that we had on, that had us on, they even said it themselves that the national media doesn't really doesn't give them a spotlight in to the Ravens, just like they do to us.
Yeah, they're always trying to dunk on Lamar. He does the exact same things Josh Allen does, but better.
Right.
But
exactly.
they don't call Josh Allen a running back. They call Lamar the running back.
Exactly. It says Alan Perales, hell of a season, boys. This team's gonna be so much fun to watch. Real's got all his predictions right, yes, sir. Now, Albert, what's up, fellas? How's it going, Albert? Hope you're having a good one. Appreciate you for chiming in. But yeah, dude, honestly, this season has taught me that this team is very resilient, and that's why I titled the episode "Houston, you will be a problem." I do hate that saying. It's so cliche. Houston, you have a problem. Yes, we get it. But this time it sounds cliche as hell, just like as cliche as us wearing belt buckles and cowboy boots and all that. But I do
have a belt buckle, but I don't have cowboy boots.
you stereotype. Anyway, so
in my defense, my brother's wife got it for me, and that's my name. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna wear it for the rodeo. I'm not wearing a cowboy hat though. I draw the line somewhere. That's where I draw the line.
I was just like, wow, that went nowhere. Anyway, but nonetheless, this team, they were counted out from the get-go, and it ended up being such a successful season. Like Alan said, it's going to be a season where next season, I feel like the future is bright for this team just because of so many. Obviously, our leadership with D'Amico Ryans, it starts from the top. D'Amico Ryans, man, what a culture change he made as soon as he stepped foot in this door. A complete 180. This team again, and I think that's what I mean by I go back to, hey, it wasn't supposed to be there because this team, at the very beginning, nobody knew how. I think the wide receiving core was very underrated, but nobody knew what it was, so everybody decided to count them out, right?
Yeah, worst in the league was the headline.
Right.
Worse.
You saw the infamous how do you call it? Colin Cowherd rant about CJ Stroud, how he wasn't talented enough.
Going to be a bust.
Going to
Him,
be a bust.
that dude
Yeah.
from The Ringer, Bill
Yeah,
Simmons.
there's so many receipts there. Yeah, that can be distributed, but just not enough time. And they all doubted the Texans from the get go. The thing about it is this team has a lot of bright future spots. But before we get to the future spots that I want to save towards the end, I want to talk about what went wrong at this Ravens game.
Whew.
There was I mean, it's easy for a lot, like on Twitter, like I've seen, especially on Twitter, I see a lot of people just blaming strictly Bobby Slowick for it. And honestly, well, yes, that is a part of it. I feel like there were more things that went wrong, and not just Bobby Slowick within itself.
I will say Bobby was the first domino that kind of basically his shortcomings in that game caused a domino effect that affected the entire game in that second half. First half, it was back and forth in that first half.
So that first half, it was like toe to toe, neck and neck. Just it was a really good first half. I was very proud of our defense. Yes, like as always, our defense kind of gives it up a little bit here and there, but I feel like it feels like they test the waters out a bit and see how much they can get away with and stuff like that. What I notice.
And when they needed to clamp down, they clamped down. But
yeah, exactly. They adjust.
There's only so much they can do, though.
Yeah,
they got to. It all passes of the game.
There's only so much they can do, like you said. They can only take whatever the offense gives them, and so if they're literally out there, out and about every few seconds. Remember, like it's kind of like what we're used to seeing with a lot of the old Texan stuff. Defense is fine, and then because offense doesn't provide enough, what happens to the defense? They get worn out. They start off fine and they get worn out. I saw a lot of that.
It gave me shades of last season.
Yeah.
And it goes back to a point I made during our live stream of the first Titans game, where I said, we're leaving a lot of points in the board. We're still struggling in the red zone. And then, we barely won that game. Then the second time we played them, we blew them out, but it could have been a much higher score. And I was like, reference this game and watch my words will come true. That our struggles in the red zone is going to come back to bite us. And it did.
So one of the things that's been a huge problem the entire season is just the penalties. Those false starts. How do you have four penalties in the first quarter?
There goes one.
Bro.
Tons of false start.
I just got a penalty for saying that. Like I just got a penalty for asking that for the Texans. Like, how do you have so many penalties in the first quarter? Four penalties. Like that to me is undisciplined football. It's unprepared and undisciplined football, dude.
It's going to be loud. The whole week they should have been working on silent counts. That's how you negate some of those, early, behind the line penalties. But no, it seems like they didn't work on that at all this weekend.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just how it was, dude. Like, the mental errors, the mistakes, the unreadiness, and the undiscipline. I think that's what really got to the Texans at the end of the day. Also, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Ravens were solid. Like, absolutely. There was absolutely, we were walking into a situation where you knew the Ravens were going to be like the toughest team we were going to face off against, right, this season. And
they had to play a perfect game, basically.
They did, and they did. And they did. I really felt like the Ravens were on top of their game. When Lamar earlier in the week, when Lamar Jackson said they feel pretty comfortable at it, it was, to me, in my perspective as a fan, it's like, okay, are you guys really just going to let these guys just talk about y'all like that? Y'all are not going to prepare for it. And then, I mean, they didn't. They really didn't prepare. Now, at that point, it's like, I feel like the penalties played a huge issue in it because I feel like it took us out of the game mentally. Also, I mean,
the simple things, honest, the simple things. Just there was one play in particular where he makes just a regular block. You got Hutchinson on the edge. That was at least a 30, 40-yard game because there was a ton of real estate in front of him. Just the simple things that they missed out on.
the blocking was off. Like a lot of the key players that usually don't make those mistakes. That's how I know that they were mentally like checked out of the game. A lot of those key players that don't make as many mistakes, it was like Murphy's Law. Everything that went wrong went
It
wrong.
could go wrong, went wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
And
simple as something like Brevin Jordan missed a easy block
Yeah.
and it
He's
caused
almost
that
yeah.
caused intentional grounding because
Yeah.
he's supposed to make that block and that there was no for CJ to throw to. He's like, I'm not taking the sack. I'll take the penalty versus the sack because
Right.
I'm taking that many hits, but just little things like that. It's just they came in unprepared. I hate saying this, but it almost felt like the same old Texans a little bit. Like we do good in the wild card, get to the divisional, and then in years past, we didn't deserve to be in some of those divisional games. We just got lucky it was the Bengals that we were playing in the wild card round. And this time, it felt a little bit different in the first half, but the second half was like, oh, it's just PTSD was kicking in. Like, come on, man, not again. My therapist, line one.
Where you at? I need you. No,
Dr. Shelley, it happened again.
You have to sit on the couch and everything. No, so I did feel like they were unprepared at certain times, dude. This is absolutely not given. See, the thing is this: as I'm saying this, I'm not taking away anything that the Ravens did because I'm talking about. They're the best team in the league, and I'm 100% sure they're going to make it to a Super Bowl. As I'm saying this, I am not taking anything away from Baltimore at all. What I'm saying is I'm speaking on our behalf from what I saw, my own personal opinion. Just seeing the unpreparedness and CJ Stroud could not get comfortable in the pocket at all. Like the pressure was heavily on CJ Stroud. He could not get comfortable, and I'm not blaming him on it. It's just like there's no way he could drop back as much as he normally does. They really studied that film on CJ Stroud.
They attacked they attacked the interior and they attacked the middle of the line. That's our weak points, really.
Yeah.
Dieter and whoever they rotated left guard. Those are the weak spots on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Tunsil did
Scruggs at one point too, man.
Like they were struggling a little bit. But they did a decent enough job where they weren't, hitting CJ, they weren't sacking him. But at the end of the day, I think the game plan for the Ravens was essentially to throw off CJ's timing. You throw off his timing, you don't give him those times, go through his reads, make those play action passes. You basically force him the short passing game, and our receivers outside of Nico really couldn't get any separation whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So at that point, I mean, I'm just thinking, I feel like I'm glad in this particular way. Like I'm glad that now that it's over, it's like okay, it happened. How can you learn from it? So CJ came out and said he just wants to be the best GOAT possible, the best guy he can be. So at that point, it just kind of tells me, hey, he's going to take this to heart. He's going to take this to heart, and he's going to learn from it, and he's going to get better as time goes by. This is going to make a stronger quarterback. And
look at his comments to Will Anderson, because Will Anderson came out and said, after the game I was crying, and CJ walked up to him and said, hey, man, don't cry. We got this. We'll be back next year.
Yeah, exactly.
You stop crying.
Yeah. Alan said, I'll be honest, if there was a game next year I would likely shell out money. It would be when Houston comes in. Emphasis on if.
We play them next year.
Yeah, we play them next year in South Oklahoma. So yeah.
It's not that far of a drive for you, Alan.
Yeah.
Stop putting in that overtime right now, buddy.
Yeah, stop putting it in. You got a year to do it. Lowe said Ravens are just a better team at the end of the day. That's true. They were a better team at the end of the day.
Yeah, we had to play essentially perfect football to come up with the upset. And once we started making those simple mistakes and not executing the most basic of football plays, it was game over. And those second half adjustments that the Ravens made, we made none.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Because we were getting to Lamar, and they adjusted their game plan in the second half, and we couldn't get anywhere near them.
Yeah.
And Bobby was busy on the Surface tablet, updating his LinkedIn profile. Updating the search radius for 100 plus miles.
Honestly, the first half, I remember I had a few other guys from the other podcasts that were in the guys at Third Coast podcast and Inside the H podcast. Shout out to them. We were at Cobos, and we were all just kind of hanging out on the same table, and then we were talking. And during halftime, I mean, we went into the halftime pretty decently because we had them. What was it, 10-10, right? When we went to the half, it was a tie game. Then but it would have been 13-10 if Kaimi had missed it. Yeah,
basic play.
I'm telling you, I think he's only missed 2 this season, and that was one of them. And so
he's the only one inside of 50 yard. No, that one was like right at 50, I think.
Exactly.
Like,
and so, again, the mental errors, Drew. That's one of them. The basic, simple things that you never really miss during regular season. That was one of them, and Kaimi just kind of shit the bed on that particular one. It obviously brought you from like here in that conference level to we're back here again. Missing it, yeah.
Crash and burn.
Yeah. Because you were kind of walking into the second half with this momentum, right? And then obviously if you make that field goal, that that momentum carries through. I think the only thing that I really didn't like, I wish we would have deferred the ball to begin with. I wish we would have started off on defense as opposed to offense.
I mean, I get the reasoning, but at the same time, like you gotta have like a game, you gotta have a play drawn like you did against the Colts. Something that's gonna throw them completely off guard. But predictable. Like as soon as they're lined up, I could tell right away with the first 3 players. I'm like, oh my god, like this is y'all wanted the ball to run that shit. Like, come on, man.
They wanted to establish the run, but I think they went about it in the most incorrect down the middle. I'm like, guys, you're not going to get them down the middle. It's just not going to happen. And they were trying to force it down the middle, dude, and it just didn't work.
My thing is, if the 49ers and the Dolphins couldn't, establish a run game up the middle, what makes you think Devin Singletary is? I like the guy, but he's not McCaffrey. He's not Mostert. Like, something that you can use to aid the running game, something also to counter that blitz is running back screens. These wide receiver screens, they don't work. But the running back screens, you can have maybe a little bit of success with because your running back's going to be a little bit shiftier than your wide receivers. But they didn't call any, running back screen, so the game was way out of hand. And they knew at that point it was going to be a running back screen. So it was just, again, just lackluster play calling.
Yeah, it became too predictable at a certain point, dude. It was
fun fact. So Bobby's had more interviews of the offense scored points this week, man. That's sad. 5 interviews, his offense put up 3 points. I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah. No,
that was bad. I don't want to blame the interviews. Like I was a little upset Saturday, but like having some time to reflect on it. Not wholeheartedly on the interviews, but I do question the preparedness just because again those simple mistakes and 0 adjustments at the half. Like because I think that drive where they scored the field our only points, they were able to move the ball, and it wasn't with the running game. Like they had something going, and then they just went completely away from those plays for the rest of the game. Like you guys are moving the ball down the field. You just sputtered and had to settle for 3. But yet success of those plays, try them again. Instead of these runs up the middle and wide receiver screens or these trick plays where, come on, you have had 0 time to have CJ established in the pocket, where we're going to try a double reverse flea flicker on the other side of the field. Like, come on.
And that's the thing though. Like those were, you know what they reminded me of? Do you remember when Bill O'Brien got cute and tried to do that
the fake punt?
The fake punt, and that Bobby Slowick play where like the double flea flicker that like brought me some shades of it too. And I was like, oh god, they're trying to be cute again. A PTSD again. I'm gonna call Reels' therapist.
Right.
I mean, honestly, it just looked, Baltimore in the second half, they were able to regroup. When I was talking to the guys on the podcast, Inside the H and Third Coast, I was telling them about what the Texans, what they need to do. They need to be opportunistic and score as many points as possible in the first half, because that's when the Ravens aren't at their best. So to me, they should have taken advantage of that first half going in. And then by the second half, it's kind of proven this season that the Ravens, when they come back from the second half, they're a much different team.
That's what great teams do. They make the adjustments.
They adjust. And that's what the Ravens did. Because when they came out in the second half, boy, they were unstoppable. That was an unstoppable team.
From the kickoff, when Duvernay went like 47 yards, I was like, shit. The snowball effect. It just snowballed from there.
For the Texans, the game ended just like Cleveland about the third quarter. Like that was it. The Texans just didn't find an answer and couldn't recover from it.
No, I'll tell you when I knew the game was over. So Baltimore after the half, they scored that touchdown. I figured, okay, this is our chance to answer back. We go 3-0. I'm like, okay, game's over. At that point I knew like it was Because again, 2 runs up the middle and then a screen.
Yeah.
2 runs up the middle, then a screen. I'm like,
you couldn't find an answer. That's the problem. Like you couldn't find an answer to them, and I would have expected. And again, I'm not blaming Bobby Slowick on it fully. I feel like there should have been some. You can only do what you can with what you got. I get it. Tank Dell isn't there. You're missing you're just missing Kenyon Green, and we obviously know that Patterson was a much better center than Dieter is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. So those were some key spots, that you were missing.
Another thing also is so John Mechie, he outsnapped Robert Woods, but Mechie wasn't even targeted.
He wasn't. That's the thing.
He was out there just getting his steps in, doing cardio.
Yeah. So, and that's another issue. Like at the end of the day, it just felt like really CJ's true receivers on that Ravens game were just Hutchinson, but there's only so much you can get out of him. Obviously Nico Collins, but that the Ravens were going to target Nico Collins.
Especially in that second half.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, but I mean, we talked about the drop, dude. That drop was a gimme. And
it's funny, Cowboys fans did tell us, he's going to have a lot of drops, and he has. And he's made up for them, but still, you don't want to. He made up.
I mean, honestly, that drop was heartbreaking, but I mean, it's not like that caused us to go 1 and out. Like it was, he ended up making up for it in the same drive. So I was like, okay, but man, seeing some of that stuff, bro, it just seemed, wow, that drop hurt. I gotta tell you, that drop hurt, but I'll agree with you 100%. Whenever we got to like the end to the red zone, bro, like they had no answer. You were right then and there, and you still haven't been able to answer that. So that's a big problem that needs to be fixed in coming into next season. The red zone offense.
Well, because what I've noticed, especially like these last few games, they get too cute in the red zone. Like, why are we doing runs with wide receivers in the red zone? Like, it's not throwing anybody off guard. Like, if Hutchinson's out there, it's going to be a run. They stop it. Mm-hmm. It's like when Tank Dell was in the backfield, it was going to be a run. Like, got to get a little more creative than that.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't have wasted plays in the red zone because wasted plays leads to 3 points. 3 points. You don't want to leave the game in the hands of your kicker because if you saw the Buffalo Bills game, you can't always rely on your kicker, even in gimmies.
Yeah, man. And that's just how it is. I mean, I can't say yes. I'm disappointed at the outcome. I'm disappointed how we weren't really too fully as ready as I wanted us to be, but at the end of the day, CJ still kind of balled out with that. He had what's so funny is that his stats look a little better than Lamar, except besides the 2 touchdowns, of course. He was 19 of 33 for 175 yards, as opposed to Lamar, which was 16 of 22 for 152 yards, except Lamar had the 2 touchdowns.
The difference was the running. The running. Lamar, and remember I said that, but I was like, it's too much of a difficult task to try to say you got to contain Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a freak of nature when it comes to those things. He can outrun you and all that. Lamar Jackson using those legs, dude, was detrimental for the Texans defense. Like I said, not in regards to Lamar, talking about the running game, period. Not just Lamar. He's an extension of the run game, but their running backs were having their way with our team.
Yeah.
Well, again, the defense was gassed. Like the offense kept going 3 and out. That's drives, and
that's the thing. They just kept kind of not. They just kept getting in and out, and that was it. There was no rest time, no rest time at all for that. How do you call it? For that Texans defense. So what do? I mean, you just get worn out, and then you don't make plays. You start missing plays. You let plays happen against you. And it's almost like, obviously the Ravens are great. They are great, but Texans also help beat themselves in this game.
Because at the end of the day, every team in the NFL is beatable. There's no such thing as an unbeatable team. Every team's beatable. Any given Sunday. Like I said, we would have to have played a perfect game to beat them, but we just didn't come prepared. And it showed completely, especially in the second half.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I feel like we talked about, what made the offense so one-sided. Obviously, we didn't really have the much weapons, and the Ravens were smart to take those weapons away, especially the second half.
And trying to force the run. When you're averaging less than 1 yard a carry, abandon the run. It's not working.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're getting like 2 or 3 yards of carry, but less than a yard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would we continue running up the middle at that point?
So
Definition of insanity.
where I want to go next is speak of the devil, because I felt like some of the play calling that was made wasn't what you expected, I guess,
It was
and we
Bill.
got
It
a
was
little too
Bill
cute.
O'Brien. It was Bill O'Brien
O'Brien
cross-placing his Bobby Slowick.
Yeah.
Surprise!
surprise. But speaking of Bobby, like you said, he's had several interviews throughout
5.
the week, several. And so do you see actual, like the Titans, it was announced today that they basically chosen their head coach from the Bengals. Really, and after that you have Washington, but I don't think they might go with Slowick. They might go with somebody. You were talking about it earlier. I can't remember who we were talking that they were probably going to choose. Or no, you and Sam were talking. Mr. First Down.
So I said that that the Washington should go with Bieniemy. Like, he made
Bieniemy, yeah.
Sam Howell. Sam Howell is not a great quarterback, but Bieniemy was able to scheme him, and
right.
He was leading the league in passing at one point.
So
I think that's because of the play calling.
And that's the thing, though. Like, you would think immediately that, hey, let's get Bieniemy, right? Let's get Bieniemy. But we've talked about this before. Like, what do you think makes Bieniemy like not attractive to these teams? Because he's bounced around. Remember when they were trying to get him in Houston with Deshaun Watson was here, and then that did end up happening. With could have been because of Jack, whatever it was. But
and then we get David Culley
from the Ravens. Yeah. Call your doctor again. Then with the Chiefs, he stayed, but he was like, back up to Andy Reid or something like that, or an assistant to Reid, and then he went to the Commanders, and then he was also an assistant, but he could not do the head coaching gig. Like, is it control? Like, I don't understand what's that. Why don't these teams find Bieniemy like as an attractive version of a head coach?
Your guess is as good as mine. I can't figure it out, because you can tell the difference in Kansas City's play style when Bieniemy left, compared to now. Yeah. Even with the lack of wide receivers, Mahomes, outside of Tyreek Hill, he made these average guys, get these big deals, MVS, all these other guys. I can't name them all, but he made them look like they were, they could be something, and they all left, but they're not the same without Mahomes. Like, great quarterbacks make average receivers look good. Yeah. Brady did it his whole career. Mahomes is doing it now. CJ elevated that wide receiver room a lot. So,
so yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, so where do we see potential landing spots for Bobby Slowick? We're talking about Carolina. We're talking about Carolina a little bit. I'm telling you, in his contract, Bobby Slowick said, "I need to be able to throw my drink at people,
especially Jaguars fans."
Especially Jaguars fans. He was like, boom.
Honestly, I see him going to Carolina for a couple reasons. I think, Bryce has the potential to be good. It's just he needs, pieces around him. I think with Bryce, he needs to have the right situation around him. He's not one of those that's just going to do it with his natural physical gifts. He has it up here, but physical-wise, he's a little bit undersized, so he's going to need some help. I can see him going there for that reason, and I think Carolina does a back because they saw what Bobby did with CJ.
I guess you need somebody to lift up Bryce Young. I'm sorry. Anyway. Yeah. That was stupid. Yeah, no, I agree. And then also, doesn't he know people over there in Carolina also?
Well, he started up with the Commanders, so I thought, that might be a logical story. But, man, I remember when they showed that graphic of all the people that were at Washington. You had him, you had Matt LaFleur, you had Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan,
the Dolphins,
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels, yeah, man,
all of them.
That whole tree, that tree.
It started there. Basically, it's the Shanahan's, the senior Shanahan's offense that Kubiak ran to perfection here in Houston for a while. It's essentially the same offense. And which goes back to not to deviate from what we're talking about now, but it goes back to like the play calling against the Ravens. Like you saw that they shut down the Dolphins and they shut down the 49ers. We run the exact same type of
same
offense.
Yeah, that's what kind of worried me at first, though. Like when I was looking at that at the before the game, before maybe like 2 days, when they were saying like, dude, the Ravens just completely obliterated that Kyle Shanahan style offense or whatever. I was like, ooh. that kind of
they've had to. Hey, come on, they've had to know, like, we can't run the same plays that they've shut down. That's where you have to get a little more creative with the play calling, but they didn't at all.
Yeah. All right. So back to the Bobby Slowick's landing spots. I'm gonna say if all of them, I would probably say Carolina also with you, for that. But so if he's gone, obviously there's room for somebody needs to go up there. Maybe somebody who's very familiar with that offense. So there was a few names that came out. Believe it was yesterday. I think it's by at Stroud for Rookie of the Year, ROTY, on Twitter, and he said some potential replacements as OC if Bobby Slowick was to leave in the offseason. Jared Johnson, which is the Texans QB coach. I think he got interviewed by New Orleans today, I think, or is it or something like that?
It was New Orleans, but I don't see him leaving CJ Stroud for Derek Carr.
No, I don't either. Bill Lazor, which is also a Texas senior offense assistant. This one's the one that stuck out with me. Clint Kubiak, 49ers passing game coordinator.
Where have we heard that name before?
Yeah. Zach Robinson, the Rams passing game coordinator, and then finally Nick Caley, which is the Rams tight ends coach. Obviously, it would make sense for somebody who's familiar with that Kyle Shanahan style offense to come back over here. Dude, that Clint Kubiak name though, just because I mean, not to say that he's going to be exactly as good as his dad was, but I mean, who better, right? Like that to me, that name stuck out.
And he's with the 49ers, so he already has a relationship with D'Amico and with
right
with all those guys. So it's a perfect fit. Like, because I think someone had mentioned, do we go outside of that Shanahan tree as far as the OC? Like, I don't see it.
No.
You want continuity with your OC and your quarterback, because we see these quarterbacks.
At that point, then you would. Yeah,
he's in a developmental state. Like, look at Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
He's had 3 OCs, and it's messing with his development.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think because they've got different views or perspectives or different type, whatever. But if these guys are all on the same page, I think it's more cohesive. The mindset going in and what type of plays are running and all that, right?
Continuity is key for a young quarterback to develop. Otherwise, you have all this stuff going on in your head, and you just flame out almost.
Yeah,
and you don't want.
That's right. That's right. I also forgot the Browns are going to interview Jared Johnson as well. Yep, that's right. Man,
but I would like to think they have a contingency plan just in case. Well, I'm pretty sure Bobby's leaving, but I'm sure there's a contingency plan in place. Like, hey, if he leaves, like, hey, Jared, you're going to be the guy if Bobby leaves.
Yeah,
because they don't want to lose both in one offseason.
No, not at all.
That's worst case scenario.
That at that point you're borderline dismantling the team that got you where it's at. So, no, I agree. I honestly, any of those names I feel like would be good. Jared Johnson, I feel like would probably be the main one in the running. If Bobby does decide to leave or whatnot, but honestly, I feel like this team. Let's say Bobby stays, or even if he doesn't, and we have somebody that's as familiar. That they add on to the team that's as familiar as Bobby. Dude, like next season, this is where I want to lead into the our next part of the segment. What are the bright spots for the future? So the bright spots for the future here, you got Nico Collins is probably going to do a lot better next season, as long as he stays healthy, of course. You got Tank Dell coming back. I'm hoping John Mechie is able to get some off-season training, work on some of those techniques or whatever to get better, to get more reps coming into the next season. Because, like you said before, he can play. He can be that slot receiver that the Texans are definitely missing, right? So, just to spread the defense more. At that point, I'm thinking, let's say that doesn't happen. Do you go out and get a wide receiver? Since there's been a lot of speculation of all these receivers, all these free agents, do you go and get a wide receiver in free agency?
So I was one of those. I was kind of against it. I was like, oh, we can, get like a slot guy in like the later runs. But now looking at it now, I'm like, you do, but at the same time, you want to do it for the right price also. Because people look at our cap space, going, oh, $74 million.
No,
They don't keep in mind that one, you have about $5 million you're going to lose on signing some of these future reserve players. Then about 20 to 30 million in the draft. So essentially, you're left with about $54 million, which it's not bad as far as cap space goes. But
yeah,
you also have a lot of guys that are are free agents. You're gonna have a lot of holes to fill, and you're gonna have to make some tough decisions on who to retain, who to resign. You have to talk to some of these guys that got paid under Bill O'Brien and the Reverend Easterby, trying to basically rework their contracts that they're making a little bit too much compared to your production right now. So it's Casario and D'Amico, they got their homework cut out for them this offseason.
Yeah, 100 agreed. So just to give you a heads up, I was trying to find a list of free agents or whatnot for the Texans. There's a lot of free agents that are going to go on the market for the Texans. I mean, oh, here they are. I got them. Okay, so these are the Texas free agents. This is according to Adam Schefter, of course. So Texas key free agents this offseason. Dalton Schultz, Jonathan Grenard, Devin Singletary, Sheldon Rankins, Steven Nelson, Noah Brown, Blake Cashman, George Font, Jerry Hughes, Michael Dieter, Denzel Perryman, Kareem Jackson, DeAndre Houston Carson, Adrian Amos, Khalil Davis, Derek Barnett, Trevier Thomas, Josh Jones, Trier Tart, Cameron Johnson, our own Bill Burr is leaving, or Bill Burr, Kaimi Fairbairn, Awunda Wale, Eric Murray, Charlie Heck, and John Weeks.
So I would say the vast majority of the list you could probably let go.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go down the list real quick, and just say keep or let go, or whatever. Yeah, keep or let go, or whatever. Right? If you're the Texans, do you keep Dalton or do you let him go?
For the right price, I think. Just because
isn't he looking like a 10 or 12 or something in the 20s?
I wouldn't say 20s. Anything more than like 12, I wouldn't do. You can get an equal value. You can get Hunter Henry for probably cheaper, and he gives you same value as a catcher, but he's a better blocker. Okay. If you can get Dalton at the right price, oh, definitely. But if someone offers him, like more than 12, like around 15, nah, I'd pass.
I would say keep under how do you call it, a team friendly, I guess, deal. If not, I think if it's anything more than 10, you gotta let him go.
Or if he wants like a long term deal, I wouldn't do a long term deal.
Yeah.
I can kind of see why Dallas didn't give him that long term deal.
This next one, you and I may agree or may not agree. Jonathan Grenard, keep or let go.
I would keep, but I think someone's going to throw the bag at him. But if we can keep him for around 15, 16 a year, I mean, resign me easily. But if someone offers him 20, because pass rushers are at a premium right now, and he balled out in the contract year. He betted himself, and it's going to be a tough one.
That's a tough one because without Jonathan Grenard, this defense isn't as good as it was. Rushing the quarterbacks. I mean, we rushed like crazy, and we applied so much pressure, and he's a big part of it.
He had a quarter of the sack.
Yeah,
so
he did. I would say keep him, but I feel like if another team's going to throw the bag at him, maybe and you have to sign other parts of it. But damn, letting him go is a tough one. I would try to see what I can work out with him.
Yeah, like I said, if they can keep it around 15, 16, I think that's pretty fair. But more than 20 now because you got still a lot of holes to fill. And our draft is going to depend on if he stays or goes. If he goes, we're going to go after a pass rusher. If he stays, I think we're going corner.
Yeah, I don't think so. I guess to answer Albert's question, do you think the Texans draft a wide receiver in the first one? I don't think so either.
No,
Yeah.
the game-changing wide receivers are going to be gone by the time we pick.
Yeah.
Unless they trade up or someone falls drastically.
Well,
nah.
sure, yeah, I would think so either. So
But
I would say
it would cost.
I would say
it would cost
defense
way,
really. Yeah, I would
It
say
would
defense.
cost.
Yeah.
It would cost way too much to move up into the top 10 because those were all the most of the receivers going to be gone. Like all the good ones, like Neighbors,
Right.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Keon Cole. Like they're all going to be gone. 10, 15, between the first 10, 15 picks. And it's going to cost a lot to move up.
All right. Devin Singletary.
Yes, on a short-term deal, you need an upgraded running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. You need an elusive running back.
Because what Saturday showed us, if you can't run the ball, you're not beating the big boys in this league.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and honestly, I do hope that Dameon Pierce steps it up. But dude, he had 0 snaps this Saturday, and that's hard. That's tough.
Steve Slayton fall from grace, basically. Like I called it middle of the season, like, man, it's Steve Slayton vibes, and yeah.
All right. Sheldon Rankins.
I'd bring him back. You could probably get him on a. You probably get him like another 2-year deal.
Do you what Sheldon Rankins or what about DJ Reader?
You can still get both. With DJ Reader, he's going to be hurt to start the season, so he's going to miss time. You could actually probably get DJ Reader at a bit of a discount as when to come back to Houston.
Okay.
But in the short term, you're still going to need somebody up front.
Yeah. Then we move to Steven Nelson. Now let's think.
He's gone.
I think he's gone too. But what else do you have at corner now to complement Stingley?
Well, not necessarily because they want to move on. I think another team is going to throw. He's played really well this season. Like he's earned his final bag, and I fault him for taking it. So, because again, corner is another premium position, and I think another team is going to offer him a lot more than we are. And I'm okay. Like I said, I want to go corner in the first round anyway.
So far, let's write down guys that you would probably that would really hurt to lose. Would definitely be Grenard and Nelson.
Yeah, I would love to have Steven Nelson back, but I don't see it, man.
Okay. All right. Noah Brown, I think he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, you could find cheaper and younger talent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's another one that might hurt us. You ready? Blake Cashman.
You got to resign him.
You got to resign him. All right. So Grenard, Nelson, and Cashman are my top ones.
I don't see anyone overpaying for Cashman, so we can definitely, be able to sign him for a fair deal because he balled out this year.
All right, next one, George Font.
He's gone.
Hold on. Yeah, I feel like he's gone too. But because somebody's going to offer him something.
Yeah, not because we don't want him. It's just because he's played well and he's a starter on a lot of teams, and I think they're going to offer him starter money. And I don't think he's going to stay here to be a swing tackle.
Mm-mm. I feel the same way about their next guy. Sorry, not about our next guy. Well, this guy, he's been decent, but he's been hurt this season a lot. Jerry Hughes, he's gone. I feel like he's gone.
Yeah,
I think the age too.
I wouldn't be surprised if he retires.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Michael Dieter.
He can go. He can go.
Hi. All right. This one, I like him, but it's just, I don't know. But I feel like he can go also. Denzel Perriman.
I like him, but we need an upgraded linebacker. And
yeah,
if they can get him at the right price, I wouldn't mind keeping him around as far as depth. But I think to emulate the Ravens, man, you need. And it's crazy because the league has kind of moved away from those dominating middle linebackers, but the Ravens have them, and it makes a difference. They have them. The 49ers have them. Like, those are your quarterbacks in the defense. What's going on, Chad?
What's up, Chad? How's it going, bud? Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate you.
That was a big difference on defense for the Ravens, that linebacker spot.
Patrick Queen, and Roquan Smith. Would you go after Patrick Queen?
Oh, most definitely.
Texans? But with all the money that they're going to spend, though, and try to re-sign some of these guys, would you go for Patrick Queen? I mean, I would definitely go for Patrick Queen, but I don't think that it's going to happen, though. I don't think they're going to get him.
It's a possibility. We'll see.
All right, Kareem Jackson.
I'd bring him back.
Maybe for depth.
Yeah.
I
I
think
don't.
he.
Yeah, not as a starter, but he's
No.
great locker room presence, veteran
Yeah.
leadership. I'd bring him back for that.
Okay, this guy's actually been pretty good. I think I'd bring him back too. DeAndre Houston Carson.
It's another good
Consistent.
depth piece.
Yeah, depth
You
piece.
need depth piece. Like it's a long season.
Mhm.
Injuries happen. You need to have depth.
Yeah,
So
he's
definitely bring him back.
he's had some pretty decent plays. I think he was a good pickup. Okay, this guy, I feel like he can go. Adrian Amos.
Yeah, I didn't really do too much this season. I didn't see
Yeah,
too much out of him.
yeah. Khalil Davis.
It's another one I didn't see a whole lot of, and
No.
you could probably find an upgrade through the draft.
The next one I am definitely adding to it because what a pickup. Derek Barnett.
Oh, you got to resign him.
You got to sign him. So that guy, dude, he had like a sack in every game ever since he got to the Texans. Thank you, Eagles. I appreciate you. I just feel like someone's gonna throw the bag at him too, though.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys, some people like might overpay a little bit, and hey, it's just how free agency works.
Yeah. So I would say bring back definitely. Same. I think with you the same, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Trevier Thomas. Now, if you get rid of Nelson, though, like you need as much depth as possible and somebody who's familiar with this.
I could probably see them. I could see him coming back.
And I don't see anybody throwing the bag. I don't see anybody throwing the bag at him either.
Yeah, because he's familiar with the system. You could probably get him on on a team-friendly deal. Because I think, again, I'm thinking they're probably going secondary because that's our biggest weak spot.
Yeah, it is.
That and linebacker. So I think they go, they're gonna have a lot of young guys, and you need some veteran leadership, and that having him would help as well.
All right, Josh Jones. I think he can go.
He'd be a good depth to have, but I mean, linebacker, good alignment are hard to find. Someone will probably pay for him.
Yeah. All right, this one can go. Tier Tart.
Yeah, I didn't see anything out of him.
Yeah. Okay, this one I feel like it's weird to say, but I feel like you should bring him back because he gives you a really good chance. Cameron Johnson or Bill Burr over here. I'd bring him back.
Hey Mando.
Hey Mando. I want to come back to the team, eh? Yeah, I'd bring him back. I would bring him back.
Yeah, great punter. I'd bring him back.
Yeah. Fairbairn.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Fairbairn. I'd say Kaimi Fairbairn back.
Because as we've seen, reliable kickers are hard to find. Sorry, Buffalo. The two most hated words in that state: wide right.
Wide right.
Like, what are the odds? The Super Bowl and then yesterday.
Yeah, Awundawale. Special teams, I would say, but
yeah, as far as like a special teams player, yeah, I'd bring him back. Other than that,
yeah, nothing else. All right, this one, I'm okay with this one leaving because he's been around since the Jack Easterby days. Eric Murray.
He's still on the team.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen too much of him. I guess he just plays mainly special teams. It's one of those, like, he's not a bad player to have, but the contract he got from the Reverend, bro, he fleeced that man.
Yeah. Charlie Heck.
He's solid depth. I'd bring him back. Because, like I said, you can get him on a decent. I don't think he's going to get starter money, so he's a good depth piece to have. Just
somebody to have in the back. Yeah, I could agree with that. Bring him back. And finally, long snapper John Weeks.
The GOAT?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not?
He ain't going nowhere. It's the GOAT. The GOAT long snapper.
98 years old and still doing this.
He'll be doing it for another 98 years.
Yeah. All right. So back to my point at the bright spots for the future. These are definite bright spots for the Texans that they can use. Grenard, Nelson, Cashman, Barnett, Fairbairn. Like these pieces I think are essential to what the Texans need. They're going to be a problem. The Houston Texans are going to be a problem for sure. Once they sign hopefully enough of these guys, and then the draft, and then whoever we pick up in free agency, there's going to be a problem.
You got cornerstones at the key positions, quarterback first and foremost, but you also have a cornerstone at on the defense side of the ball at two spots: edge rusher Will Anderson and a corner with Stingley. And then you got Tank Dale, Nico that are taking the next step, and you got some pieces in place. You just got some holes to fill.
Yeah, I honestly think that let's say we play cards right. Let's say Bobby decides to stay for some reason. Okay, let's say he decides to stay. We are somehow able to stay with all of these dudes here. And then we add some pieces, some new toys for Bobby Slowick to play with and D'Amico, right?
Mhm.
How dangerous can this Texans team be?
So that's where my concern starts. So every year, 4 new teams make the playoffs, and basically now, next season, you're going to have Burrow's going to come back healthy. Herbert's going to have probably a competent head coach. So that's 2 other people you have to worry about in the AFC.
Mhm.
So basically, like the ones that are almost locks at this point, it's going to be Mahomes and the Chiefs,
Yeah.
Josh Allen and the Bills, Lamar and the Ravens. If Burrow can stay healthy the whole season, Burrow and the Bengals. Then from there, you basically have 3 playoff spots up for grabs.
Right. So in those, that's what I'm saying. So in that case, the good thing about this team now is that people actually want to come here now, as opposed to
Yeah.
prior years. Nobody wanted to
That
come here.
was that's gonna be my next point. Like you have a top 5 quarterback as a rookie. Guys gonna want to come here. Like they'll take a little bit less money, especially these guys that want to win a ring. Like because our window's basically the next 3 years.
Yeah.
You got to do it when CJ's on his rookie deal because Mulcahy, he's gonna make sure CJ gets top dollar.
Gets
So you
paid. Yeah, he's gonna get paid.
as he should, because kid's phenomenal. But your window's 3 years, so we're going to be a real popular destination because no state income tax. You got a franchise quarterback. You got a head coach that people want to play for.
Yep, exactly. That's changed the whole culture around, and the ownership has actually improved like crazy. They're open. It feels like they're finally open. They're no longer tone deaf to receiving some of that criticism or whatever. I like the direction that this team is going. So it obviously makes an attractive market for players who want to win a ring eventually. I think that this is a good mix. I think this is a good key. I think the Texans have a bright future going on. We've not only us, like we've heard it from other people as well. After this game, like people actually got to see, like we went against the Baltimore Ravens, who are definitely going to be at the Super Bowl. Like there's no way that I don't see them not winning against the Chiefs, especially at home.
It's in the script. You've already seen the script,
right? Yeah, and so yeah, definitely. So honestly, I feel like this would be a good destination for anybody to come in. Honestly, me personally, and I'm going to say this, whether you can agree with it or not, I would love to see Mike Evans here. I'd love to see Mike Evans here at home. Now, as far as the price is concerned, let me tell you this. So it depends on the price. If it's way too heavy, now obviously the reason why we do have the 72 million as a Texas, or 70 something million, whatever it is. But a lot of that money is going to be 74. A lot of that money is going to be allocated to bringing back some of these guys that they desperately need, because if they don't bring these guys back, now you have a bigger problem than what you did when you first started. So
those guys and the draft. The draft's going to be about $20 million. So
yeah. So at that point, like they really have to do so. They have their work cut out for them during this offseason. The Texans do. They signed some guys today for future contracts, but nothing too splashy. That's about it. But I feel like I would love to get Mike Evans over here. I would. That's just call the homer in me. I would just love to do it, but it all depends on the price.
So would Tyler Miller. He would love. He would.
He would really love
it. Right. No, but I think also another reason people want to come here is like, so in years past, the expectation, we make the playoffs cool, we win the division cool. Here, I think like the expectation now is our time is now, Super Bowl or bust, basically. It's not just just to get into the playoffs. No, now it's like we're trying to be the best team in the league. That's the expectation that I get from this team. We didn't get that feeling in years past, and I think that's something that will resonate with a lot of players. Like, hey, I'm trying to get paid, but also I'm trying to win. I'm trying to go out a winner.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. All right, well, honestly, this is where we are now. So it's like, what do we do after the off season? So Rios, what you got coming up with our friends, the Hardcore Sports Network, right here that I'm repping them today?
Oh, look at you. No, so we still have our Pick and Roll show on Wednesdays. I gotta get with our always absentee co-host, Daniel Eduardo, 37 different other names, and see if he's available, so we could actually start streaming some Rockets games together. and try to get you into the mix too. It's
I'll be joining you in some Rockets game, and I think we may live stream some Rockets game. So for those of you who don't know, I'm not a basketball fan. I like the Rockets. I'll go for the Rockets. I'm just not a basketball fan. But I'm open to obviously watching it, and then you get to see my reaction to like understanding the game more, right?
Or here's questions like, why are they bouncing the ball with their hands?
Why don't they use their feet? Why don't they use your feet? It would be a lot easier. No, but yeah, you'll get to see me, develop a love for this game, I guess. And so we'll be doing that. We'll be doing some of that this upcoming, during this off season. Obviously, any news that come up for the Texans, we'll be reporting them again still. As the time goes on, new pickups that they get. Hey, maybe they say we picked up Mike Evans. Yeah, we bet your ass we'll be the first ones on there.
Right.
But so definitely keep looking out for our shows. We're not going anywhere just because football season's over. This is just the beginning here. So we got some Rockets games that we're going to live stream, some Astros games for sure that we're going to live stream. This Wednesday night, I'm doing episode 9 of a wrestling talk with my buddy Wrestling, talking about wrestling. Wrestling talk for a preview for the Royal Rumble for those wrestling fans out there that like to see us or whatever. So we'll be talking with our buddy XCal. If you guys know XCal, he's a Houston legend as far as it goes for the gaming community. One of the pioneers for the whole Call of Duty thing that started on YouTube. So check him out. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. And that's as far as I know. That's what we got. We may add a Rockets game here. We never know because the Astros are still. They're going to go in spring training. February, I think. So
yeah, we're still about 50-ish days away from opening day.
Yeah. So it looks like we may have some basketball to catch up on, Rios. I feel like that's going to be the thing.
Yeah, that, and then we got the Dynamo coming back in March also.
Dynamo, exactly. Houston Dynamo. I talked to our friend Glenn Davis. It looks like we might be getting him on soon. So we'll see what happens, man. We got some stuff coming up for y'all, man. But nonetheless, that's going to be it for our show tonight, man. Rios, hey, man, I got to say, it was a lot of fun doing those live stream Texans games. I'm not going to lie. That was the best stuff.
It was.
It was exhausting as hell, though, afterwards. I fell asleep. But it was good times, and I think we can do that coming next season,
Yeah, people got to see a different side of us.
Yeah, it did.
Well, mainly me, because I was an emotional wreck.
And this is why Rios is single, y'all. Kidding. No, all right. So then, Albert said, Embiid. Wow. Embiid, thank you. Dropped 70 points on this. You know what? I might not know much about basketball, but that I do like. I like Wemby getting embarrassed because he didn't want to come to the Rockets. I saw that whole thing, so that I do know, and so I will. That hate will be
generational.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. So, honestly, Rios, I'm looking forward to moving on from the Texans live streams to some of the Rockets live streams coming up that we will have. I know it's not going to be like every weekend like before, but we're going to do a few of them here and there, and so I think that's going to be a lot of fun, man. So we'll schedule them.
Some Dynamo games as well.
Dynamo games, yeah, man. That should be pretty fun. We'll get in touch with whoever we'll be looking out for podcasts that whatever the Dynamo's facing that particular game or whatever, and look out and reach out to them and see if anybody wants to join us. And this way, y'all get to meet more people also on our show and maybe check out their stuff if y'all want to. Okay. All right, man. Rios, anything else you got to say, bud?
No.
Okay.
Each should say. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for us. Follow us on our X account, as you see at the bottom, at JustFans22. Also, follow us on our Instagram account at JustFansPod. Oh wow, I forgot to go on Instagram Live today. Oh well, it'll be all right. But that's
you useless piece of shit.
Oh, whatever. Do something for once, Rios. All right, guys, that's going to be it. We'll see y'all. I will see you guys with Bruce and perhaps Justin on Wednesday to talk about some Royal Rumble. Till then, guys, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for being a part of our Texans live stream during the season. That was a lot of fun. Definitely looking forward to it again next season. And of course, we'll be back on, and you can join us for Rockets, Astros, and Dynamo stuff as time goes on. All right, guys, that's it. See y'all later. Peace.
And I don't know what you thought. around here, dog, we gon' rep the squad. Got HU, I might fit it, then on my jersey, you gon' know where I'm from. This Houston, Texas, still rolling heavy, stay rapping, baby, we ain't never done.